Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. In today's video, I am going to rank my top 15 David Bowie songs. Before I dive in, I'd just like to remind you to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and of course the bell to receive notifications of future content. I haven't mentioned this for a while, but I thought it would be worth putting a shout out to the ranking engine that I use, which is from PubMeeple. If you would like to rank anything of your own choice, then why not follow the link in the description below. So diving straight in at number 15 is the second track from the album Hunky Dory, and it's Oh You Pretty Things. I really enjoy this song. I think it's from probably my favourite David Bowie album. This was covered by Peter Noone from Herman's Hermits and was a relatively successful single. And it survived beyond that cover. It's a great song, Oh You Pretty Things. Number 14, I have placed the final track from his breakthrough album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It's Rock and Roll Suicide. It's taken me a while to really grow to really appreciate this song. It's downbeat, certainly, but when it lifts into that final section of oh no, you're not alone and that you're wonderful, it's an absolutely great ending to a great album. Number 13 from 1977's Low, I have placed the hit single that made it into the top 5, Sound and Vision. Of all of Bowie's top 10 singles, this is probably the most unusual to actually reach such a high placing. It's one of my son's favourite songs, and on our podcast that we run together, Generation Mix, he really likes Sound and Vision, and I think it might well be in his top 100. We may well be doing a series of videos soon where the two of us actually talk about our top 100 songs. Will Sound and Vision be in there? I don't know yet. At number 12, I'm returning to the Ziggy Stardust album to pick Lady Stardust, the opening track from side 2. I think this song is an underrated classic. The melody's fantastic, the delivery's brilliant, the performance of the Spiders from Mars is absolutely wonderful as well. And for the next pick, number 11, I am sticking with the Ziggy Stardust album. I'm picking the title track, Ziggy Stardust. Famously covered by Bauhaus in the early 80s, which is my first exposure to the song. The riff that opens the song is one of my favourite things to play as I'm practicing on my electric guitar or sound checking. I think Ziggy Stardust it's the best track on the whole album. And number 10, I'm returning to 1977's Low for Art Decade. This is an instrumental, but it's such a beautiful and evocative piece. I'm a very big fan of Mike Oldfield. I'm very fond of Kraftwerk, and I can hear the influence of both of these when I listen to Art Decade. I think it's an absolutely fantastic piece of music. And number 9 is Kooks, a little track buried away on Hunky Dory. This one was written for his son Duncan, and it's all about how he and Angie Bowie were kooks and that he was going to grow up kooky as well, because that's what he was going to have around him all his life. And I really, really, really like Kooks. I think it's such a sweet song, and it's funny and clever, and it's a great piece from Hunky Dory. At number 8, it's from The Man Who Sold the World, also known as Metropolis. It is the title track, Man Who Sold the World. Another great early Bowie track that was covered by an artist that's quite surprising. It was Lulu who covered Man Who Sold the World, but the one that many people cite as being the great cover version of it is by Nirvana from their Unplugged album. Man Who Sold the World should have been a hit. So Man Who Sold the World at number 8. At number 7, I am picking the title track from the 1974 epic album, Diamond Dogs. There was a time that I didn't like this. When I first got into Bowie, it was something I didn't rate at all. But as I've gotten older and I've listened to it more, and that opening cry of "this isn't rock and roll, this is genocide," and then kicks into what is actually quite a long song. It's an absolutely brilliant title track from an album that I am still coming to grips with. I like and I probably love, and I think it's growing on me as I age. Diamond Dogs, my number 7. At number 6, I have placed the great Bowie epic, Station to Station, from the same album from 1976. Bowie famously says he has no recollection of ever recording this album because he was on so many drugs at the time. But Station to Station is an 11-minute suite. You hear the train noise coming in. You have that section with the return of the Thin White Duke throwing darts in Lover's Eyes. And then it kicks into the pop rock section of It's Too Late to Come Home Again. And I think Station to Station is a absolutely brilliant masterpiece. At number 5, from 1978, the title track again, it's Heroes. This is a song that lives outside of its context. It's got that droning guitar by Robert Fripp. It's got one of Bowie's best vocals, and it's transcended its album. I don't particularly like the Heroes album, but the title track is incredible. It's one of the very best things from the 1970s. This only reached number 18 in the charts, and yet I've seen polls where it comes out as people's best Bowie song. Heroes is sublime. At number 4, I placed a track that is probably his manifesto for the 1970s. We're returning to Hunky Dory for the 3rd time. It is Changes, the opening track. Again, this was a flop as a single. I think it got to something like number 71. But Changes is basically what he did. He never stayed still during that decade, all the way through up to Scary Monsters and Super Creeps from 1980. He was changing styles. He was changing his appearance. And like I said, Changes was a bit of a manifesto. I've placed that at number 4. At number 3, it's back to Station for the hit single Golden Years. This is comfortably in my top 100 songs of all time. I particularly love its usage in the film A Knight's Tale. So if you've never seen that before, it's set in the medieval period. All the music is somewhat incongruous and out of time. And when they're doing a dance, slowly in comes the guitar part and Bowie's voice, and it changes into Golden Years, and they dance to that. And it's a really interesting sequence, but it lifts the song as well. And absolutely fantastic song, Golden Years. And finally to my top 2, which on a different day could be swapped over. But at the moment, at number 2, my final pick from Hunky Dory, I said it was probably my favourite Bowie album. I've picked 4 songs from it. It's Life on Mars. This song is special. It's absolutely brilliant. And I've read that Bowie was approached to write the English lyrics to the song My Way. And I didn't like what he did. So he just kind of kept the chords and wrote Life on Mars. It features Rick Wakeman on piano, who at the time was a jobbing session musician. It's another track like Heroes that has got life outside of its parent album. But when it's heard on its parent album, it's just absolutely brilliant anyway. Life on Mars, currently at number 2. And finally, at number 1, From Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, it is the #1 hit single, Ashes to Ashes. Now, if you've watched my 1980s #1s, you know that's my favourite #1 of the 80s. And I didn't like it for the longest time because that video, as a 6-year-old child, creeped me out big time. Where the colours were all pink and he's in the Pierrot costume and they're being followed down the beach by a weird digger thing. And it totally freaked me out. And I hated Bowie as a result. It's only as an adult that I've grown to love his music and particularly admire and adore Ashes to Ashes. So that's my top 15 Bowie songs. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell as I mentioned at the beginning. But until next time, thanks for watching.